Hi guys, quick update here for Bitcoin Technical Analysis Friday, 17th of June 2022. Hope everyone's doing great. So following on from a series of videos here, we've been very much bearish. We've got targets here of 8,600. Bitcoin long-term count on the 9th of April prior to this, one of the biggest 2-month declines in human history on Bitcoin. You know, that was a huge short there. Anyone who took that short, and probably no point being short now. Either it's time to be fishing, time to be short. It's just time not to be long, basically. There's still people to shake out of this market. Sure, there might be an oversold bounce here. Certainly, I respect anyone who's wanting to buy here as a short-term trade. But I get the feeling people are jumping in from a long-term investment. I still feel Bitcoin could halve from this level. Okay, if we have a look at our favorite altcoin, there's a super cycle correction here going on Bitcoin. So if you have a look at our favorite altcoin, you know, they had to trap. I mean, they took out, when was the panic of 07? They took out went all the way down to the panic of 07, right? You know, so the only people who were buying down here was Jesse Ventura and, Mr. Morgan. So, you know, that's super cycle corrections here. I mean, that actually turns out was a grand super cycle correction for. But the reason that's relevant is, I suppose the good thing about Bitcoin is the cycles are over in about 5 seconds. So this could bottom here today. But, you know, that is a full cycle complete up there. I thought this was the 5. If that's not the 5, that's definitely the 5. Okay, I called for 2k here, you know, so I've increased my probability from 5% to 10% that 3891 gets taken out. Anything above 25% probability whenever I use that word is very relevant. So, you know, that's 5 ways complete here as part of a larger super cycle one. So one complete super cycle has been completed on here. You know, it's I don't see how anyone can dispute that. And now we're in a super cycle correction similar to our favorite altcoin, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which took out the 1907 high. So there's no reason to be long. Whether this goes to $1 or $8,000 to $12,000, as we've been saying here for many months now, many months, it doesn't matter. There's no need to be long here, but I get the feeling people are still long this market, looking for a recovery. You know, it's not a triangle, it's not a zigzag, it's not a dodecahedron, it's not a pentagon, it's not a hexagon. It's a big crash, a super cycle crash, and once everyone has been shaken out of this market, then we can resolve to the upside. But just like our favorite altcoin, I mean, this is very important what happened here. You know, let's just go back to our favorite altcoin here. You know, you have to shake everyone out of this market. So, you know, I mean, that went back, what's that, like 25 years? Right, so 25 years of price action basically got eradicated. So that's, you know, super cycle corrections. They're not very nice. They're very vertical. Frankly, for most people, it's not even worth shorting this or even getting involved. You know, I said time to be long, time to be short. And shorting's not for everyone. That's fine. You know, shorting can sometimes be, you know, quite difficult. And really, if you don't know the patterns or the strategies, there's no point really getting involved here. But to be here to the long side, I still think is very different. The only reason I've got a range here between 8 and 12k is because there are various fib relationships which I have involved here. There's price action levels here, there's block levels, there's TPOC levels, there's volume profile references here, there are gaps down here, there's fixed range profile references. There's multiple reasons there, but once we get down to here, 8 to 12k, we can then assess the situation. As always, Bitcoin does not trade by itself in its own little bubble, as many would have believed. It trades alongside everything else, specifically the Nasdaq and the US dollar. A lot of things depend on the health of the other markets down there. If Dow Jones and S&P and Nasdaq are still not looking the best, obviously it still goes lower. Like I said, I've increased my probability now to 10% that this gets taken out, and that's quite a big jump, simply because there's too many buyers in this market. And I think, or I would have hoped, people would have learned from 2018 bear market, but they just haven't, because no one's ever seen a super cycle level correction here on Bitcoin. So I said on my last video, 20k is panic, 14k is capitulation. I actually think I'm incorrect. I don't think we're even at the panic stage yet. Frankly, 20k is denial, 14k is panic, which makes more capitulation more like 10k, 8k. So ultimately, you're going to see 4-digit Bitcoin more than likely before you see, well, I suppose it would be 6-digit Bitcoin. So I think that's that really. So, we're going to go 999 before we see 100,000 sort of thing. Now, the other thing just to show here is, you can look at the on-chain until you're blue in the face, but it's not, a lot of it's not really relevant, and you have to pay for anything that is relevant, so you just use Twitter. Even if Twitter was a paid service, it would still be very, very useful. A lot of information there as regards to sentiment. We're looking for the short-term cost basis to fall below the long-term cost basis, and there has been historical reference to that, and it makes a lot of sense. I've been saying it for a very long time. Long-term cost basis, we have to go below that. I understand Fahrenheit 451 and Kelvin coin is going to capitulate at 16.8 or 14k, so we have to go below that price. We have to go below where most long-term holders are holding. I understand that level to be around 14k. So to me, other than a short-term oversold bounce, which, like I said, for 99% of people, it's not worth the time or the effort. You may as well just stay fishing, and at some point this year, it would have to be this year. The way this is moving, it's going to happen next week, right? We're looking to capture some kind of level here between 8k and 12k, depending on what the markets look like elsewhere. Super cycle correction, but right now there's too many buyers here at 20k. Twitter is very, very useful as regards to working out sentiment and positioning, and all the big accounts are looking at 20k, 16k, 70k. No one's really mentioning sub 10k, which makes me think we have to go there. These people are very, very sticky. It's very hard to shake crypto holders out. it took them twice to shake out the long-term holders there, but the OGs haven't been shaken out of this market. I find it hard to believe there's people out there who are still holding this, who have purchased down here. They must have sold along the way, but the only real way you can shake these fellas out is if you break this level here at 3,900. Then obviously we do have some issues, as regards to how low this can go. But let's not even go there right now. Right now we're going to deal with 8k, 12k, which is in line and consistent with the percentage decline from before. So really nothing's really changed here. If we have a look at a few altcoins, Matic, I called the top at $2. I said it was going to go to 5 cents, which is basically a nickel. Like I said, short term there might be a bounce. Obviously we're bouncing alongside there's a few blocks here. They're not really all that relevant. If you zoom out enough, that's definitely going to go to 5 cents. 90% of the altcoins could easily go to 0 here. And XRP, we've covered this at length. It's the minute that inside candle failure pattern broke down and Bitcoin broke down, there's no hope for this. Definitely going to go to 6 cents. That's a minimum target, by the way. This could easily go to 1 cent. So the other way to really reverse engineer the Bitcoin price is just to divide XUSD by XBTC, right? So whatever your target is for any altcoin, let's say mine is 6 cents, that happens to be mine. You also have to look at the XRP BTC, which last time I had calculated was going to here, as you can see, 756. So all you have to do is simply divide 0.06, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 753. See, that gets you an 8k Bitcoin price. So you can reverse engineer this from the altcoins as long as you have a good idea where you think the altcoin USD and the altcoin BTC price could go. I could also do that for Matic as well as the other coins, or you can just focus on the price there. ADA, like I said, Twitter's very, very useful. A lot of people are buying this dip, and we're not really there yet. I've told the group it's going to go into this kind of level, and that is really quite an appealing level there on ADA, 0.619, and on the log chart it doesn't look like a lot, but the percentage moves here are so big. Percentage moves here are so big. This is not looking good at all. Ethereum, I think we've covered that at length. This level was too obvious. That was too obvious. Everyone's buying the dip. It's honestly, it's going to go sub 500, to be honest. If Bitcoin could halve, Ethereum could easily halve. I don't see capitulation on Ethereum till it breaks sub 500. I've got targets underneath there. I won't share those just now. But if Bitcoin can go 8 to 12k, I think Ethereum can go a lot lower. And obviously Litecoin can go to $22. And I've been calling that for the year. So, that is a very interesting flat pattern. There's so many stops underneath this level here. And, the market wants to move from an area of liquidity from an area of no liquidity, i.e. ran these stops up here pretty much, to an area of liquidity. There's so much liquidity underneath here. Yes, it could oversold bounce right here, right now. 2 minutes after this video, it could do that. But it's just not the point. It's time to be fishing. No point really looking at this. You're just wasting your time. It's going to go down into such obvious liquidity areas here. 22, 25. Once these get taken out, then I'm thinking, right, that's an ABC. Are we going to do this, right? So very interesting times here soon. Bargains in this market will come. Definitely, right? These cycles are very, very fast. It's not like silver, which has been in a long-term bear market here, sideways, up, down, sideways. This is crypto. The bear markets and bull markets, they last about 5 minutes. So, we're still not at an area. I mean, nothing's really changed here since the last video. So, Litecoin could still halve. There's so many more altcoins I could cover there, but I'm just not going to. Just a waste of everyone's time. So let's go to the futures then. Always best to analyze volume on here. I mean, there's no ABC pattern going on. I mean, look at this. We've had like 7, 8, 9, red weeks in a row. You only ever see that in a bear market. Look at that. Poor effort from the bulls, and we identified this pattern. Almost like an inside week failure leading to a shooting star followed by another inside candle. Talk about contraction of price and volatility. That leads to an expansion of range, right? Cause, effect. But still, there's a bigger cause going on, which is this nearly 1 year distribution, right? It's a super cycle correction. How can this be the low? Right, this is 100% probability going to break 14k, and like I said, I've increased my probability now to 10% that these lows get taken out, because technically, here's one way to look at this. People are still in profit. Let's just say no one caught the exact low, but people probably, jumped in here somewhere, let's say, right? Let's just say they caught on a bit late, they watched my melt up videos, and they clocked on what was going on. They're still up nearly 3x. Well, 2.5x, right? Here, they're only up 1x. And then that's where the panic starts. So, people are still up massively over the last 2 years. Yes, they've given back a lot of their profit, sure. 6-7 figures, but regardless, they're still up. So, this has to go lower. It's a super cycle level correction. There's absolutely nothing to the upside here, right? This is 5 complete cycles. That's not to be argued with. And that makes 1 complete super cycle. Right? So really, what is the fractal you should be following? Well, technically is this then, right? Because we know, once again, Elliott wave works, right? It works. That's why Michael Burry is shorting this market, for the second time in 13 years. He knows what he's looking at. This wave 2 super cycle here often follows the fractal of the wave 2 of the higher degree count. Well, of the lower degree count, if you will, right? So this super cycle 2 correction that we think it's in, this vicious 1929 like move, ABC down move, catastrophic move here, that's going to shake out 100% of crypto investors. It takes the fractal off the wave 2 off the lower degree, not the higher degree, the lower degree. So that's obviously here. So the fractal everyone should be following is this one here, right? From ages and ages ago. So that's from 11 to, let me just get the exact low here. So what was the low here? The low was 2.07, 2.01. So right, so that took, obviously that was very, very quick. That was a 93.7 correction, right? That was even higher. Was it even more than that? I thought it was 86, right? Well, it's 93 then, right? So this is the fractal that we're following. So you can just copy and paste. Let's not really come out right. There you go, something like that, right? So as you can see, vicious 1929 like correction here. So let's, obviously it's taken a lot longer because there's a lot more participants now. Back then there were like 5 people holding crypto. So I don't know, something like this, right? So let's just try and eyeball this here off the cuff. So let's just convert that to a line chart. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, so I don't know, something like this. No, that doesn't seem about right. I don't know, something like this. Well, that also gets you to, 12k then, right? So that is the fractal that we're following. But what was most interesting from that analysis was the 93.7, right? So where does that get you? Where does 93.7 from the highs get you? Right, so 93.7 gets you, wow, that is pretty low. Right, does that take out the low? Yeah, see? So I mean, it can't be more than 10% right now. I mean, we're going to get pretty close there. I mean, we're getting pretty close, but we're at 4346 right now. So let's just get the exact target there. So 4346.35. So it's way too early to be catching this as an investment. But I respect anyone who's looking for a cheeky little oversold bounce. That's okay. But like I said, it looks quite nasty here. I don't believe we're going to 100k anytime soon. 100% probability we're breaking 14k. Like I said, this I will entertain once we enter this area, right? So I have to give a ballpark here. Right now, we're not in the same ballpark. We're not in the same, world. We're not even playing the same sport. We're nowhere near the ballpark right now. This has to halve from here. Just like the tech crash, just like 1929. We keep on going back. This is such an important fractal here. Michael Burry must be watching my end of the world videos. Technically, I called this 4.5 years ago, so that is there for historical references. I mean, look at that. From any point in time, it can still crash. You take the first 60% decline, and it can still crash another 50%, right? So, however way you cut it, things could halve basically twice, right? So it's gone down 68%. From that point, it went down a further 65%. So this is the fractal that you need to look at. I think silver did some kind of super cycle correction too back in 2011. It's probably still in that super cycle, isn't it? So what people need to look at is longer term corrections. You cannot call, see, look, so that was all one big super cycle, right? So that was all from 08 to here. Actually, that's not the silver chart, is it? Silver futures, what is it? SIL. SI, that's it. We don't want the micros there. We want the one on the, there you go. Yeah, so that was one gigantic super cycle, just like this one here. Look at this, the first super cycle, right? That was super cycle 1, probably. I mean, look at that. It takes out everything. It takes out everything. This here. I mean, I actually don't think this is over. I've always been saying, for what it's worth, I mean, it's not a silver video. No one really cares about silver or gold. A dying asset, just been going sideways for the last, what feels like a decade. That could still be an ABC going on here, right? So silver, it's still not the time to be buying silver, despite what Gregory Mannarino has to say, who I respect greatly. Top man. I don't see anything. If you're going to go into a deflationary sort of move here, hyperinflation pricks the bubble to a deflationary crash. That can still go lower. But regardless, what I'm trying to show is super cycle level corrections are not good. What else is at a super cycle? S&P, Nasdaq. Wheat in 07 maybe. Let's see if we can get up wheat futures. Where's the 07? Yeah, I mean, look at the degree of correction here. I can't think of any others. I'm sure there's many in commodities. Oil, that's obviously in a super cycle right now. It's very close to a top here. Let's pull up US oil. Certainly it looks as though the oil stocks have topped. That was just a super cycle level. That was one complete cycle into here, right? And look at that. I mean, they had to take this negative. So, super cycle level corrections, they do go quite low. Anyway, I think we're getting off topic here. So, regardless, I will entertain us challenging 4K, 3.5K, breaking the pandemic lows when I need to. Right now, we have to get into the ballpark of 8K to 12K. I have to see what the altcoins are doing. I have to see what the dollar index is doing, Nasdaq, S&P. There's so many things to have a look at here, but there's definitely nothing bullish going on about this. Super cycle level corrections, they don't happen often. When they do happen, you just want to go fishing. That's why fishing was invented, for those who like to be long the market, which is most investors, bless them. That's okay. You don't have to short the market. No one's got a gun to your head. It's time for them just to take a break, and bargains are going to come here. But unfortunately, there has to be more pain before there can be bargains. I'll catch you guys later.